We
Okay.
are live, Prabhu. You can start.
व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचोरम्
Rache Prasidham
नवनीतचौरम्
Navneetachoram
गोपाङ्गणानां च सुदुकूलचोरम्
Gopangananam Chadukulochoram
अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरम्
Aneka Janmarjita
अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरम्
Papachoram
चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि
गौराग्रगण्यम्
Gauragraganyam
पुरुषं
Purusham
नमामि।
Namah
श्रीराधिकाया हृदयश्च चौरम्
Sri Radhikaya Hridaya
हृदयश्च चौरम्
Sacharam
नमां बुधश्यामलकान्तिचौरम्
Namabuddhashamalakanti charam
नमामि
पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरम्
Padashritanam cha samasta charam
समस्तचौरम्
चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि
गौराग्रगण्यम् पुरुषं नमामि।
Mami
अकिञ्चनीकृत्य पदाश्रितं यः
अकिञ्चनीकृत्य पदाश्रितं
Padashitam
यः
yaha
करोति भिक्षुं पथिगेहनीहीनम्
करोति भिक्षुं
Bhikshu patike
पथिकेन
hinam
हीनम्
केनाप्यहो भीषणचौर्य इद्रुक्
केनाप्यहो
Apyaho
भीषणं
bhishana charidru
दृष्टाश्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि
Srushta
दृष्टाः श्रुतो वा
Suvana
न
Jagatraye
जगतत्रयेऽपि
यदीयनामानि हरत्यशेषम्
Yadiyanamat
यदीयनामापि
viharat
हरते
shesham
शेषम्
गिरिप्रसादा प्रसारान् अपि पापराशिन्
Giri
गिरिप्रसारान् अपि पापराशिन्
आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चौर्य इद्रुक्
Ascharya
आश्चर्यरूपो मनुचौर इदृग्
दृष्टाश्रुतो वा न मया कदापि
दृष्टो वा न मया
Shrutashruvanamaya
कदापि
kadapi
धनं च मानं च तथेन्द्रियाणि
धनं च
Dhanam
मानं
Jamanam
च तथेन्द्रियाणि
Chatathendriyani
प्राणाश्च हत्वा मम सर्वमेव
Pranam
प्राणांश्च हत्वा
Charitva Mama
मम सर्वमेव
Sarvameva
पलायसे कुत्र धुतोऽद्यचौर
Palayase
पलायसे
Kutra
कुत्र
Drupod
द्रुतो
Chaura
ध्याय चौर
न भक्तितां नासि मया निरुद्धः
त्वं भक्तितां
Bhakti-dam nasi
नास्ति
maya
माया निरुद्धः
niruddha
क्षीणत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धन्
चीनाक्षि घोरं
Sighoram
यमपासबन्धम्
yamapashabandham
बीनत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धम्
दीनाक्षि
Bhinatsi
भीमं
bhimam
भवपाशबन्धम्
bhavapashabandham
क्षीणत्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धम्
चीनाक्षि
Chinatsi
सर्वस्य
sarvasya
समस्तबध्यम्
samastabandham
नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धम्
Neva
नैवात्मनो
mano bhakta
भक्तकृतं
kritam tu
तु
bandham
बन्धम्
मनमानसे तामसराशिघोरे
Manamanase tamasarashi
तामसाराशि घोरे
ghore
कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्धः
कारागृहे
कारागृहे दुःखमये
दुःखमये
निबद्धः
बदः
लभस्व हे चोरहरे चिराय
लभस्व
लभस्व
हे
हे
चोर
चोर
हरे
हरे चिराय
चिराय
स्वचौर्यदोषोचितमेव दण्डम्
स्वचोर
स्वचोरदोषी
दोषोचितमेव
तमेव दण्डम्
दण्डम्
कारागृहे सदा हृदये मदीये
कारागृहे
कारागृहे
वसा
वस सदा
सदे
हृदये
हृदयमदीये
मदीये
मद्भक्तिपाश दृढबन्धन निश्चलसन
मद्भक्तिपाश
मद्भक्तिपाशा
दृढबन्धन
दृढबन्धन निश्चल
निश्चलसन्
त्वां कृष्ण हे प्रलयकोटिशरा शतान्तरेऽपि
त्वां
त्वां
कृष्ण हे प्रलयकोटि सतान्तरेऽपि
प्रलयकोटिसतान्तरेऽपि
सर्वस्य चौर्यहृदयान् हि न हि मोचयामि
सर्वस्य चौर्याहृदयान् न हि
Nahi mochayami.
मोचयामि.
I offer my respectful obeisances to the thieves who is famous in Braja as the what is thoda I think thoda this as the butter thief and he who steals the gopis' clothes and who for those who take shelter of him steals the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes.
I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who steals Srimati Radhika's heart, who steals the dark luster of a fresh rain cloud, and who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. Hare Krishna.
He, he turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering homeless beggar. Alas, such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard of in all the three worlds.
Mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Such an astonishingly wonderful thief I have never seen or heard of anywhere.
O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything, where can you run to? I have caught you with the rope of my devotion. Hare Krishna.
Please jump in, whoever has not read, please read.
You cut the terrible noose of Yamraj, you sever the dreadful noose of material existence, and you slash everyone's material bondage. But you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees. Hare Krishna.
O stealer of my everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance. And there, for a very long time, you will remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery.
O Krishna, thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart because I will not release you for millions of aeons. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Govardhana Dhanam Vande Gopala sorry, Govardhana Dharam Vande
Govardhandaram Vande
Gopalam
Govardhanam Dharam
Goparupinam
Vande
Govardhanadharam Vande
Gopalam
Govardhanam
Goparupinam
Gopalam
Gopalam
Gopakinam.
Goparupinam
Prakango Himana.
Gokulotsavam Ishanam
Gopulotsavam
Gopulotsavam
Govindam Gopika Priyam.
Govindam
Govindam
Gopika
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 Priyam.
Priyam.
I offer my respectful obeisances to the lifter of Gordon Hill, Lord Gopala, who has the beautiful form of a cowherd boy. He is the grand festival of Gokula, the supreme controller, Govinda, and the beloved of the cowherd themselves of Vraja.
Vande Navaghana Shamam
Vandena
Vande Navaghana Shyamam
Dvibhujam Muralidharam
Vibhujam Murlidharam
Murulidharam
Pitambaradharam Devam
Pitambaram
Pitambar
Pitambaram
Devam.
Sharanagata Purushottamam.
Sharanagata
Sharanagata
Purushottamam.
Purushottamam.
Purushottamam. I offer my obeisances to Navaghanashyam Krishna, who has the color of a fresh rain cloud, who is holding the flute with his two hands. I worship Purushottam, who is so beautiful in his yellow dress, Pitambar. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare.
you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Pradeep
you.
Prabhu, thank you so much. It was such a wonderful recitation. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
All right, let's start with our Lilamrita reading. Om ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय In July 1935, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came to install the deity.
You are not sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you all see it now?
Yes, Mataji. We can see both screen actually.
Okay, hold on. Okay, is that
We
better?
can see Mataji.
Okay, sorry about that. In July 1935, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came to install the deity of Lord Krishna and to institute deity worship at the Bombay Center. He was pleased with what his disciples had done so far, and Bhakti Saranga Maharaj admitted that much of the work was due to Abhay Babu, who had collected funds and established the new center. Why is Abhay living separately? Bhakti Saranga asked. He should be president of this Bombay center. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati replied, it is better that he is living outside your company. He will do. When the time comes, he will do everything himself. You don't have to recommend him. Abhay had not been present when this was spoken, but his god brothers told him what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had said. These words of his spiritual master, with this mysteriously prophetic air, were important to Abhay. He treasured the words within himself and meditated upon their meaning.
After, sorry, Mataji. Oh, please, anybody can go ahead. Because मेरा double आवाज आ रहा है.
In November 1935, he was again with his spiritual master in Vrindavan. It was the Kartik season, the ideal time to visit Vrindavan, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was staying for a month with his disciples at peaceful Radha Kunda, the sacred lake where Radha and Krishna used to sport. After leaving Bombay in July, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had gone to Calcutta, where he had spoken on radio, delivered many public lectures, welcomed back the preachers he had sent to Europe, and finished publishing his Srimad Bhagavatam translation and commentary. Then in October, he had come to Radhakund, occupying the small one story house Bhakti Vinod Thakur had constructed. He had been reading and speaking to the assembled devotees on the Upanishads, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. He had also installed deities at Sri Kunj Vihari Mutt. Hare Krishna.
The banks of Radhakunda were overhung with bright green foliage growing from the Ga- growing from the gannett branches of another tamarind, tamala, and neem trees. In the in the in the shallow of the water, cranes stood on s- still like legs, and while river turns skimmed across the lake, sometimes abruptly driving the fish. Sometimes a tortoise would poke its nose up from the water's depth, or a fish would jump. Green parents, usually in the pairs, flew in the out of the green trees, and sparrows chipped and hopped from the place to place. Peacocks were also there, mostly in nearby gardens, as were occasional rabbits and even deer. Hare Krishna.
Please jump in. Whoever would like to read, just unmute and read, please.
The
Hare Krishna,
actress
Mataji.
said, go ahead, Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah. The atmosphere was enriched with the history of Krishna Lila. 5,000 years ago, Radha and Krishna had engaged in transcendental pastimes here, and only 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya had rediscovered Radha Kunda. Lord Chaitanya's great follower Raghunatha Das Goswami and had resided here for many years, constantly chanting Hare Krishna and discussing the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And here, in a small bhajan kutira, Krishnadas Kaviraja had written Chaitanya Charitamrit, the narrative of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati relished so much. Many of the inhabitants at Radhakund were Babajis living in small bhajan kutiras and spending their time chanting Hare Krishna. Should I continue, Mataji?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Having heard of his spiritual master's stay here, Abai, bringing his son with him, had travelled from Bombay just to have darshan of his spiritual master. To see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was always an occasion for jubilation, but to see him in Vrindavan was an added perfection. This meeting with his beloved guide and friend was different from the time in 1932 when Abhay had seen him on the Vrindavan Parikrama. Now Abhay was no longer sitting anonymously in the back of a room. Now he was a bona fide disciple, recognized as the Kavi who had written the praiseworthy poem and essay, the young man who listened well, the devotee who had helped the Allahabad Mutt and who had established the Matha in Bombay. Already on this visit, Abhay had occasion to be alone with his spiritual master, who had remembered Abhay's son and presented him with a small bhandi, a jacket. And now, as they walked together alone on the bank of Radhakund, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta turned and spoke confidentially to Abhay. Hare Krishna. Should I
There
keep
had
going,
been some.
Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I don't know who's reading.
No, you can read,
Mataji.
Mataji. Go ahead.
No, I think she was continuing. Mataji is saying, I'll continue.
No, I just asked Mataji, should I continue or...
Yes, yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Continue.
Okay.
Continue.
There had been some quarreling amongst his leading disciples in Calcutta, he said, and this distressed him very much. Even now in Vrindavana, it weighed heavily on his mind. Some of his disciples had been fighting over who would use various rooms and facilities at the Gaudiya Mutt headquarters in Calcutta. These devotees were all members of same Matta, and the building was for propagating Krishna consciousness under the leadership of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Yet, even in their spiritual master presence, they were quarreling. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas were supposed to be free from envy of any creature. What to speak of envy of one another? If if they were to fight now, what would they do after their spiritual master passed away? Abai had no part in these matters and did not even know the details or who was involved. But as he listened to the spiritual master, he also became distressed.
Rupini Mataji, you want to continue? Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Deeply concerned, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said to Abhay, Aguna Jwalabe, there will be fire. One day there would be fire in the Calcutta Gaudiya Math, and that fire of party interests would spread and destroy. Abhi heard but did not know what to make of it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had fought so long and boldly to establish that anyone of any birth would be elevated to become a Brahmana, a sannyasi, or a Vaishnava. But if his followers became contaminated by a little wealth and the desire for prestige, thereby showing themselves to be still low class men despite their training and purification, then his mission would be disrupted. If, in the name of religion, they became attached to ease, position, and prestige, it would only mean that they had failed to grasp the teachings of their spiritual master. Mati, let me know when to stop.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji, read.
Srila Prabhupada, he was lamenting that these men are simply after the stones and bricks of the building. He condemned, he was very, very sorry. When he was living in a rented house, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said, if we would collect 200 or 300 rupees, we were living very nicely at Danga. We were happier then, but since we have been given this marble place in uh, Bagh Bazaar, there is a friction between our men. Who will occupy this room? Who will occupy that room? Who will be the proprietor of this room? Everyone is planning in different ways. It would be better to take the marble from the walls and secure money. If I could do this and print books, that would be better. Abe felt his spiritual master speaking to him in urgency, as if asking him for help or warning him to avert a disaster. Would but what could he do? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta then said directly to Abhay, Amar Icha Chale Kichu Bhai Karada. I have a desire to print some books. If you ever get money, print books. Standing by Radha Kund and beholding his spiritual master, Abhay enter he felt the words deeply enter his own life. If you ever get money, print books.
Well,
Hare
let's.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mati.
Hare Krishna Mataji. मी वाचू का?
Yeah, Mataji, let's take a pause for a few seconds and then we'll continue reading. Let's see if anybody has any reflections because we have read a few paragraphs. So, anybody would like to share anything that stood out to you?
So what stood out to me is that Srila Prabhupada, when he came to USA from India, that time he was only carrying books with him. So his spiritual master's instructions that whenever you have a little bit of money, print books.
Yeah.
So basically, he had lost his job, everything, and whatever little money he had, probably he printed books and he obeyed the second order of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj that go to the West and preach. So
Yeah.
basically, he made that decision of two things culminated together,
Mm.
and it's so nice that when of course, that Srila Prabhupada did. There's a line that says he took it to his heart,
Yeah.
entered his own life, felt the words deeply enter his own life. So,
Mm.
similarly for us in our Krishna consciousness, if we really, suppose we plan that, okay, we have to get up every day for Mangal Aarti, or we have to make sure the rounds are all done in the morning, or something we plan, then, we have to, it has to go and touch the heart that, yes, we got to do it. So we learn lesson from our acharyas that they are when our spiritual master says some things, then that has to go and deeply inflict us inside, and then we can make that change. So that's the last portion I remember of read that.
Yes. That's a good
Yes, ma'am.
point, Mataji. Very good point and a very important point. And I personally think that this section was very important because there is a conversation between Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Prabhupada, and how Prabhupada went to Vrindavan, when he went to Vrindavan, his heart was heavy because of what he had seen that was going on amongst disciples, right? His god brothers. And like the misconduct of devotees was causing distress to Prabhupada, and he was very open to his Guru Maharaj about that. Like because of their desire for wealth and prestige, they were all like, competing and fighting with each other. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati warned Prabhupada. He could foresee that there's a disaster coming because of this wealth and prestige that was coming into Math at that time. It was spoiling the disciples' minds, and instead of focusing on the instruction of Shastra, they were all, distracted with the glamour that was surrounding them at that time. And that's why a very important instruction was given to Srila Prabhupada that, you know, print books. Whenever you have money, you should print books. And Prabhupada took that to his heart. And even in Prabhupada's instructions, we'll see as we continue reading, Prabhupada kept these instructions and this experience or these exchanges with his Guru Maharaj on the back of his mind when he was setting up ISKCON and when he was, developing ISKCON congregation. So very important instruction to me. Like I felt like we should take a pause and just reflect on it again. So that's all from my side. If anyone would like to add anything, or else we can continue.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Just wanted to share one thought that got stuck. So, when Prabhupada was saying, like, when there was nothing in our hands and there was just 200 or 300 rupees, we used to be very peacefully serving the Lord. And when it's turned to marbles and things like that, then we started for, I need this room or that and this. So, Prabhupada always says, like, simple living and high thinking. Even in our daily life, like when we see, like, the poor, not the poor, like the people who are in, the workers near the buildings and things, they just work for that time very hard, and then whatever they earn, they peacefully eat and sleep. But like people who has a lot of wealth and things, so they keep earning money, then they keep earning money, and then they think, okay, I have more money, let me invest in the stocks or something, and they need to again think or spend and invest. So all the time they keep investing, and like how much the money can influence our life, like the more we get and then more we trapped. And so as Prabhupada was saying, yeah, I mean, once the money comes, we just need to keep printing and doing books, because even pooling of money might even distract the devotee's mind too. So yeah, so how much detached we need to be.
That's a good point, Mataji.
Yeah.
Maya bewilders even a devotee. Like, see, they were all, and there was a sentence that said, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was present there, so what will happen when he is not there? Like, that concern was raised in that meeting, right? See, in presence of Guru Maharaj, if they are behaving like this, what will happen when he is not there? He is not around. So yeah, Maya can be very, very bewildering. Thank you, Mataji. That was a very good reflection. Yeah, we need to be very careful when it comes with money.
Also, Mataji, I wanted to add one more point. There's a line here which says, very important, it would be better to take the marble from the walls and secure
Yeah.
money. So he's trying to say that, this palace in Bazaar was creating a problem because, like Mataji mentioned, who's going to occupy which room, whatever. But in his mind, he was still looking beyond all these problems. And he was thinking that if we could sell the marble and secure the money, get the money by selling. And I mean, who would think from that angle? Once a marble is put somewhere, we would not think that, sell the marble. I mean, there was so much of value for money, in times for Bhakti Sant Saraswati Maharaj, because, and then that money is not for sense gratification, it's for distributing books, printing books. So basically, like in the sense that I know that my Guru Maharaj, one time when he came from Jayapata Guru Maharaj, he came from Montreal. he had collected, like he was working in restaurant, giving money to the ISKCON and all that. And I don't know the details, but he bought the ticket from the pocket money, all the money he collected in dollars, dime, and all that. And from that, he bought the ticket and then he came to India. And after that, he never went back. Presently, he's still traveling. He's in Dallas and, I think attending the Sadhu Sangha. I'm unfortunate I'm not able to meet him, but in the sense that, like that value for money, they recognized, even coming from a very reputed family. So that same thing, even the our Guru Maharajas are also following that thing, that you have to value every dime or rupee or whatever, wherever we are, whichever country. So this is so nice. I mean, we could never think like that, sell a marble and buy and get and secure money from that and then buy books.
No,
Not that you secure the money and you pocket it by selling the marble. No, their consciousness is completely about spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement. So everything is seen in that perspective. So that was very nice.
yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, like the like both of you said, I feel like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was trying to point at the fact that when these marble buildings were not around, devotees were like they were advancing in their spiritual life, and their mutual interactions were not as they were not fighting with each other. But because the marble building came in place, now they got distracted with that marble, and they want this room, that room, and they are fighting within themselves. So it's better to just sell all the marble and again go back to where the original way, the earlier way of living. That's what I understood from that section. Thank you, Mataji. Let's continue. Who was reading? I forget. You can
Oh,
continue.
me Mataji.
Yeah, please continue reading.
Okay. Srila Bhakti, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was poor in health at Jagannath Puri. Abhay was in Bombay and he wanted to write his Guru Maharaj a letter. He is a little kind upon me. Abhay, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. You have got many disciples, and I am one of them, but they are doing direct service to you. Some of them are brahmacharis, some of them are sannyasis, but I am a householder. I cannot. Sometimes I give monetary help while I cannot give you direct service. Is there any particular service I can do? 2 weeks later, Abhay received a reply. I am fully confident who are not conversant with the languages of other members. This will do much good to yourself.
Mataji,
You're
there's a little bit of
breaking.
cutting of voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
you're breaking, Mataji.
definitely.
We can't hear you
Mataji,
properly.
yeah, if she can come closer to the microphone.
I am in the car, that's why it is happening. So I will stop here, okay? I will just read this and I will stop. I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher if you serve the mission to inculcate incalculate the novel impression of Lord Chaitanya's teaching in the people in general, as well as philosophers and religionists. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, who would like to go next?
Um, okay, I'll go. Abhay at once recognized this to be the same instruction he had received at first meeting in 1922. He took it as a confirmation. There was now no doubt as to the purpose of his life. What his spiritual master had said in Calcutta in 1922 had not been a chance remark, nor had that been a chance meeting. The instructions were the same. Turn yourself into a very good English preacher. This will do much good to yourself as well as your audience. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta passed away from the mortal world on January 1st, 1937. He had been spending his last days reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and chanting on his beads. When a doctor had visited him, wanting to give him an injection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had protested. Why are you disturbing me in this way? Simply chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Among his last words to his disciples were, I advise all to preach the teachings of Rupa Raghunatha, disciples of Lord Chaitanya, with all energy and resources. Our ultimate goal should be to become a dust of the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis. You should all work conjointly under the guidance of your spiritual master with a view to serve absolute knowledge, the personality of Godhead. You should live somehow or other without any quarrel in this world, only for the service of Godhead. Do not, please, give up the service of Godhead. In spite of all dangers, all criticisms, and all discomforts, do not be disappointed. For most people in the world do not serve the personality of Godhead. Do not give up your own service, which is your everything and all, and neither reject the process of chanting and hearing the transcendental holy name of Godhead. You should always chant the transcendental name of Godhead with patience and forbearance like a tree and humbleness like a straw. There are many amongst you who are well qualified and able workers. We have no other desire whatsoever. In his last day, he had remained fully conscious and had given instructions until the end. He had specifically and openly ordered that the affairs of his Gaudiya Math be maintained by a 12-man governing body, which the devotees should select among themselves. Finally, he had said, please accept my blessings to you all, present and absent. Please bear in mind that our sole duty in religion is to spread and propagate the service to the Lord and of his devotees. At 5:30 a.m. on January 1st, he breathed his last. Word were very soon reach Abhay in Bombay. His immediate response was to cry with grief. No more the joy of an anticipated meeting. No more trips to Calcutta or Vrindavan on the plea of business, just to see a tall, commanding form of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, the evangelic angel. This sense of never meeting again was difficult to bear. Philosophically, I knew that there was no reason to lament. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had come into the world to execute the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and now it was required to that he leave this place and go to another where he would again engage in the same activity. Yet, even armed with this philosophy, Abhay felt all alone. With his two great well-wishers were gone, his father and now his spiritual master. But he felt grateful that he had received a special mercy as final instruction just 2 weeks before his spiritual master's departure. Abhay read his letter again and again. There were there would not be another. The intimate talk and meetings were now gone, but by this letter especially, Abhay would live in the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. The letter had just come in time. Now he knew for certain, no matter what anyone else said, how to please his spiritual master and stay linked with Krishna. Following his order, he would conquer the feelings of loss at the disappearance of his most affectionate well-wisher. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any reflections, anything like we read some very, very powerful points in this section? Anything stood out to anyone before we move on to a new chapter?
Mataji, one point stood out is like when his spiritual master left his body and his father also left his body, then he is more reason to contemplate on the instructions given. So now basically it's like they say Vapu and Vani.
Mm.
So the spiritual master is not there. So now the Vani becomes powerful, and whatever instructions are given, that is kind of taken as to be followed very very diligently, because now it's like the responsibility comes more, because the instructions are only there, Guru Maharaj is not there.
Mm.
So and that we see with so many other people now in ISKCON also. Bhakti Charu Maharaj is not there, but the whole center he envisioned is running through his disciples there in DeLand, Florida. So and Sunday they'll make sure that they play a certain portion of the class of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, video along with the Sunday Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam class, at that center they do, because that is a center like, brought up like a baby by Maharaj. So, it's like keeping alive our Guru Maharaj and following the instructions. So that's what I understood from this. Vani is more important than Vapu in that sense.
Yes, Mataji. And back in that time, Prabhupada didn't have any recordings or video clips. Only possession from his Guru Maharaj was the letter, and he was gonna use that as his, most important belonging. Right? Now we
Yes.
can, hear, even if Guru Maharaj is not around, we have videos, we can see Guru Maharaj, right? But
Yes.
back in time, it must have been so difficult for Prabhupada, because he couldn't, his father was gone, and now his Guru Maharaj was also not around. Must have been very difficult.
And also, there's one very nice line that says, stay linked with Krishna. So
Yeah.
now he knew for certain, no matter what anyone else said, how to please a spiritual master and how to stay linked with Krishna. So obviously, when we are following instructions of spiritual master, then
Mm.
spiritual master is like a representative of Krishna. So then we automatically like to connect to Krishna, because Krishna will be happy once we are following Guru's instructions. Like
Right.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji. And like in this section, purpose of life was revealed with so many points. I was able to jot down a few. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati instructs, become dust of Rupa and Raghunath Goswami, live without quarrel, and don't give up service of Godhead. Chant and hear holy names always, and your sole duty and religion is to spread and propagate mission of Lord Chaitanya. So that was like that last thing, your sole duty is to propagate. And
Mataji, if you don't mind, can you please repeat again all of them?
yeah, so
Because
become
I thought
dust.
you'll say one of them, but there are so many you spoke. My
Yeah, so
mind was not able to register. Yeah.
okay, so become dust of Rupa, Rupa and Raghunath Goswami,
Mm.
live without quarreling, don't give up service of Godhead, always chant and hear holy name. The sole
Mm.
duty and religion is to spread and propagate mission of Lord Chaitanya.
Hari bol. Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for grasping those points and enlightening. Otherwise, it just, for me, to just swing by, in the reading. I was not paying
Even for me,
attention. So,
Mataji, when we read, I just, we just keep on moving, and then,
yeah.
we
Thank you for
forget.
highlighting that. Yeah,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Anything else anyone would like to add, or we can move on to next chapter? All right, go ahead. Anyone would like to start? Please jump in and start reading.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
The war. Under the circumstances since 1936 up to now, I was simply speculating whether I shall venture this difficult task, and that without any means and capacity. But as none have discouraged me, I have now taken courage to take up the work. Srila Prabhupada. The fire in the mutt broke out almost immediately. A senior disciple said there should be one Acharya who would be the spiritual successor to Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati, and who would perform all initiations and settle all controversies. Sorry, Mataji. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had never said that. He had never called for one acharya. Rather, he had instructed the members of the Gaudiya Math to form a governing body of 12 men and carry on a concerted effort. But that instruction was abandoned, and the suggestion that there be one leader took hold. A single person instead of 12 should take charge, and now it became a rush for who? Two parties contested. Anant Vasudeva, one of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's leading preachers, was ambitious, and he pressed his claim with a group of influential sannyasi supporters. Another man, Kunj Vihari, shrewdly went after the properties. He had been a leading administrator under Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and now he claimed ownership of the palatial temple in Calcutta, as well as all other properties and assets of the India-wide Gaudiya Math. Although in his will, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had expressed his desire that his disciples select a governing body to manage all properties and funds of the Gaudiya Math, Kunj Vihari contested the will's legitimacy. He and his supporters argued that since Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had received the properties on behalf of God, he was not their rightful owner and therefore could not determine their future ownership. Thus, he and the others disputed over the legal and theological aspects of the former Acharya's position. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else would like to read? Please continue.
Is it shortly after? Shortly after?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. I can go ahead and read. Shortly after Srila Bhaktisiddhanta passed away, litigation had begun. Ananta Vasudev, supported by a majority of the members of the Gaudiya Math, had claimed that he, as the very Acharya, was the owner and director of the properties. But although Kunja Vihari had only a few supporters, he defied the majority by pressing his claim through lawyers in court. Kunj Vihari and his men had possession of the Chaitanya Mutt and the temple in Mayapur. Vasudev's party captured other buildings. Quarreling and fist fights broke out. The preaching of the Gaudiya Math stopped. Abe's inability to take part in the activities of the Gaudiya Math was suddenly in his favor. He had always been more a visitor than a member at the Math, and at least externally more the Grahastha businessman than a missionary worker. This automatically put him at a distance from the fray. Of course, he was associated with the mathas in Bombay and Allahabad, but he had no managerial position, no claims to ownership, and no role in the litigation. Nor did he desire to take sides in the struggle for power. Like many of the other disciples, he was motivated to see that his spiritual master's instructions for cooperation had been disregarded and his mission thrown into a legal dispute. Abi knew that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had wanted the leaders to work cooperatively, and so he would not sympathize with the warring fractions. Both parties were an insult to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else? I see Poonam Mataji, Leena Mataji. Can you all please unmute and read? Take turns. Krishna iPhone.
Mataji, I can continue.
Yes, continue, Mataji.
But he wanted to preach, although becoming a very good English preacher was something he was meditating on more than actively done, the Gaudiya Math would logically have been the vehicle for his preaching. He had already contributed articles to the Gaudiya Math's publications and had been working with his god brothers at the Allahabad and Bombay centers. Naturally, he thought of serving his spiritual master in terms of serving within his spiritual master's mission. But the Gaudiya Math, which had already been known for pure, bold preaching of the message of Lord Chaitanya, was now becoming known for embroiled fractions. As the Gaudiya Math broke down, he was also affected. Sorry.
Sorry, Mataji, it just slipped. Yeah,
Yeah,
go.
like actually, I'm reading from my phone, so I'm going like I'm not seeing the screen.
Okay,
I'm more
that's better.
comfortable. It's a little bigger on my phone, on my other phone. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll continue. As the Gaudiya Math broke down, he was also affected under the present circumstances. How could he carry out his spiritual master's order to preach? Previously, the main obstacle to his preaching had been family commitments, but now the obstacles were compounded. Now he had to wait helplessly for the outcome of this struggle. What would Krishna bring about?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Let's discuss whatever reflections you have, and then we can read the next section next time. What would Krishna bring about? Next part of this adventure of Prabhupada's journey. So, anything that stood out to you? Anyone would like to share any reflections? To me, I think this point of cooperation, like Prabhupada could actually see what happens when the devotees don't cooperate, how the big Gaudiya Math that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati worked so hard to bring it together, it just fell apart when he was gone. So that's why in Prabhupada's instructions, he keeps saying, repeating, cooperations amongst devotees is very important. That's what is going to keep the mission together. So that was one point that I could catch. Anyone else would like to add anything?
Hare
So,
Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
So I just want to add one line about cooperation. That's all. Like I know that I had heard that Srila Prabhupada is always. We always say this statement among the devotee family that if we cooperate, Srila Prabhupada will be happy. But the
Mm.
point is, this cooperation is actually coming from his Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
So that was a discovery today. Like it's coming from him because it's somewhere above we read that he would be happy if they cooperated.
Yeah.
And so kind of he was so sad that he's not getting help from home and there. So
Yeah.
like today was a discovery that cooperation was with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and that is again, I would say the again instruction he's following Srila Prabhupada of his Guru Maharaj that we have to cooperate together. So and then sometimes when we feel we reach a point where we don't know how it's going to happen. There's quarrel going on there, quarrel at home. Then we leave it on Krishna. Like the last line is so nice. It says, "What? Let's see now. This is what we could do. We are helpless for the
Yeah.
outcome of the struggle. What would Krishna bring about?" So,
Yes.
similarly in our life, we should also, when we reach a certain point, we do our duties, everything. But then, we have to leave it to Krishna because then he's got some other plans which we have to go by. Go ahead, Mataji. That's all I had to say.
Hare
No,
Krishna
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji, I was thinking, yes, of course, cooperation is very important, but many of them had different goals, like they were going after the
Yeah.
bhaktis and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the thing is, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati could foresee that when I'm gone, this might happen, this could happen. He knew, he had this conversation with Srila Prabhupada. And now, after he left his body, Prabhupada was actually seeing his Guru Maharaj's uh, whatever the Bhavishwani, whatever he had foreseen, it's coming true. And the main reason behind that, definitely it was greed, but cooperation, they were not cooperating with amongst themselves. So yes, Mataji, very strong, good point. Preeti Mataji, you were saying something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. So just I was remembering about Friday Mataji's class, like where Bali Maharaj and when he gave everything, but still his wife chastised that, like, what do you think you're giving? It's not yours. Like, whenever I say I give, I'm giving yours back to yourself. So, like, whenever we take that ownership, then that brings us the pride, envy, and comparisons, and all the anarthas in us. So, in the same way, like when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur leaved his body, then everyone started to think this is mine, this is mine, and this is mine. Instead of being a servant to the Lord, they start possessing that as their own and started that ownership, which created more anarthas and more challenges. So once we forget our natural uh, position of our being, right, instead of being servant, if we start ownership, then bring all the anarthas in the life. So that felt connected to me, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, wonderful point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else would like to add anything, or we can wrap up here? All right. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Premanandini Mataji.
Krishna.
Premanandri Mataji ki jai. Thank you for
All of you.
conducting, Mataji.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Guru
Mataji.
Mataji.
Maharaj.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Dandavat pranam
Jai
everyone.
Sandeep Prabhu ji ki jai.
Krishna. Sandeep Prabhu
Hare
ki
Krishna.
jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
All
you,
of you,
Mataji. Hare
everyone ki
Krishna.
jai.
Hare
Thank
Dandavat
Krishna.
you.
pranam everyone.
Hari
Dandavat
Bol.
pranam. Hari bol.
Hari Bol.
जय